Ladies and gentlemen, this is a different video than the ones that I usually do, which are gaming. If you consider life as a game, as I do, then it's exactly in the ballpark. This is a gaming video, guys. So the title of this video is why I like ASMONGOLD, unless I change it or change my mind. But before I go into that and say the reasons for all of that and rant a little bit about it, just know that English is my second language. So throughout this video, you might see me struggle with the language a little bit. Excuse me for that. Also, I need to tell you a little bit about myself. So if you just found that video on your YouTube page recommended to you and you have no idea who I am or what I'm doing, just know the next. Number one, I'm 36 years old, guys. I have some points written here, so if you see me just looking this way, it's just a note that I wrote in it some points, and you will understand why. I'm 36 years old, guys. Even I can't believe that I am 36 years old. In my mind, I'm 14. I'm a Muslim, which will come into play later. I'm an engineer. I have a BA degree, bachelor degree in communications and electronics engineering. I'm Egyptian. And I'm addicted to anime and manga and gaming for 20 years now. I am diagnosed with ADHD and I'm a high-functioning autistic. That's important also. And 10 years ago, I founded my companies, a couple of them, and they are successful in the Middle East. And yeah, I'm considered successful by many metrics. By many of the people who know me in the Middle East and Egypt and all of that. So now that you know those 7 points about me, let's get into it. I'm gonna assume that you know who ASMONGOLD is. I think you clicked on that video because you've seen his face on the thumbnail. I'm gonna put his face on the thumbnail, and I don't think he will, object to that. I've been watching the guy now for a few months, actually. So quickly, how I knew Asmon or how I got introduced to his character. I watch Linus Tech Tips for years now, and the video where you see, English is my second language. I'm trying to remember the word. The video where he reviewed the StarForge system that Asmon's company do. I've got recommended a video of Asmon reacts to Linus reviewing. And, alright, I watched it. And it was the first time I've seen that bro. And he was like a breath of fresh air. So, why? He reminds me from the first time I've seen him, and I've said that on stream multiple times now, and if you don't watch me on stream, then you should. But he reminds me of a philosopher that was called a very old Greek philosopher called Diogenes. And I know a little bit about him. He might have been a son of a bitch for all I care about, but again, what I know about him is a story that I've read when I was a child, and I never forgot. The story goes that Diogenes was a philosopher known that he doesn't want anything from life. He doesn't want to die also, he's living until he dies naturally. And he was living in a barrel. That's it. In his own filth. And he doesn't work and he doesn't want anything from anyone, but he is smart. When people go and talk to him, they can't argue against him. So news about that philosopher reached Alexander the Great, the greatest empire to ever exist before gaming. So Alexander the Great challenged that concept and said, who is that man who claims that he don't want anything from anyone? I will challenge that. So when Alexander the Great went to Athens, he went to where he is, that Diogenes. He lives on the street in a barrel. And he just stood over him in his barrel and told him, bro, I'm Alexander the Great. Anything that you want in this life, I can get you. Just imagine it, and it's yours. So Diogenes looked at Alexander the Great from inside the barrel and told him, anything? You sure of that? And Alexander, yeah, don't you know who I am? So Diogenes told him, alright, there is one thing that I want in this life. Alexander, yes, what is it? And Diogenes told him, bro, please, move to the side, please. You're blocking my sun. And that's it. That story on its own, I read it when I was a child in one of the many books I've read in my life, and I never forgot. To reach that level of, in Arabic, it's called zuhd, and I really struggle to find the equivalent word in English for it. So it's not giving up on life. No, no, no. It's being so rich from your own thoughts that nothing in this life entices you anymore, so that you give up your identity for it. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm gonna explain that. When you buy something, you buy it with money. That's alright. But if the money that you got it by spending parts of your core, of your entity, of yourself, then you actually bought the thing that you bought with your own self. And this is dangerous. Asmon strikes me as very similar to that philosopher. From the very first time I've seen him, I got interested in his character and started watching his videos. And the thing with my ADHD, I get addicted, guys. When I get interested in something, I consume a whole lot of it. That happened with many other YouTube channels and many other series, and any content that I like and get interested in, I consume a whole lot of it. I did that with Asmon's video. For the past few months, I've watched a lot of his videos. Well, not all day, but every time I'm cooking or making my coffee or something, I try to look one of his videos where he's taking just a long take, or he's arguing with his chat, and I watch and I listen. And again, my idea about him and my thoughts about him didn't change actually. So let's get down into it. I think that on a deep level, he understands that life is an illusion, guys. You need to understand that life that you see right now, it's an illusion. And it's an illusion that we want to live, actually. We are enjoying the illusion, alright? So yeah, I have toys around me. I'm a tech guys, but again, I'm a computer engineer, communication engineer. I have a lot of toys, a lot of tech, and I live that life. But I don't get lost in it. All the time, I know at my core that all of that is just an illusion. You can enjoy it, but you don't get lost in it. And there is a difference. And the difference is, if you get lost in it, you stop enjoying it, and it starts controlling you. But as long as you know that it's an illusion, you will always seem in control. All the time. Everyone around you will just think that you're awesome and you have so many skills and no. It's just that life is an illusion. This is a concept that is deep in my culture as a Muslim first, then an Arabic, which is we never should chase life. This way life would chase us, you know? It's exactly as a beautiful girl, guys. If you chase her, she will not care. But if you just seem cool, there is actually some poetry in my Egyptian culture saying the same. That's number one. Number two, he is 100% about accountability. And this is important. So he inspired me to do all of that. And yeah, he is one of the major inspirations for me to start streaming and making videos and all of that, because I don't know if you guys know that or not, but there is, if you're watching from USA, then you don't know about football. Soccer. For USA viewers, it's soccer. For us, it's called football. And Egyptians and Arabs are major football fans, as most of the world. So there is that Egyptian soccer player who is called Mo Salah. And right now he is extremely famous. He's the most famous Egyptian currently living. And as an example of that, John Oliver was just on the guy who eats chili sauce. It's called First We Feast, I think, or We Feast, something like that. He's called Sean Evans, you know. So it's John Oliver, you know, John Oliver guys, and Sean Evans, and they're talking. And Sean Evans asks John Oliver, if I went to Liverpool to watch a match, a football match, what is it that I need to know? That was just a week ago. And John Oliver told him, all you need to know is the Mo Salah chant. And he started singing it on the show. And I was watching that while eating, and the idea, I had it for a while now, but it just became much clearer. Mo Salah right now is the most famous Egyptian, and for that, all of Egypt right now hates him most of Egypt hates him, not all of it. Most of Egypt hates him, and it's not his fault. The reason why they hate him, what's happening in the Middle East. They think that because of the power and the influence that he has, that he can do something. Whether he can or he can't, it's not his responsibility or accountability. Simply, he made a living and made a life for himself that got him to this point. Everyone else in Egypt now is waiting for him to be something that he's not. And here is the thing, guys. I kept thinking, why? Why are we waiting him to do the thing that we want as Egyptians, as Muslims first, Egyptians and Arabs, when we can do that? So why not everyone who's asking, why haven't Mo Salah came out to endorse such and such or come out against such and such? Well, simply, why don't you? So he's gonna say, but I'm not as famous as him. So again, I think, why aren't you as famous as him? Try it. And Asmon takes the same approach to life. Whenever he takes a certain, whenever he has a certain take on something, or whenever he's talking with his chat, and they tell him, yeah, it's you think of it like that because you're rich. So he tells them, yeah, I'm rich. Why aren't you? So they tell him, you're lucky. Yeah, I'm lucky. Why aren't you? The bro grinded. The bro lived a certain life, and he had it both ways. He had it when he had nothing. From what he told and the stories that he told, it's apparent. He was at a certain position in his life. No one helped him. No one offered him help. And he understood it, that even if he asked, why would anyone help him? It's not anyone else's responsibility to care for him. No matter how much he will complain about it, it's not anyone else's problem. He understood that. So simply, he did whatever he did, whatever it is. But what he did got him to his place right now as the most famous streamer, or one of the most famous streamers and content creators online currently. So he's rich, he's famous. Yeah. He's free to do whatever he wants and to say whatever he thinks and not care for anyone else's, as long as he's not hurting anyone. He's not intending to hurt anyone. So the whole thing the current situation is about Balworld. And how Balworld, which I love. If you're not watching my series, I'm streaming Balworld daily, and I have a series now, 25 episodes. 16 episodes in Balworld. There is another one on Valorant. I have a lot of things. You can check that channel and subscribe as well. But the whole thing with Balworld is that it used AI to copy most of its elements from Pokemon and other games. And Asmon says, yeah, why not? It's fun. And everyone, how are you endorsing theft and you are endorsing something like that? And here's the thing, guys. I've been in business for 10 years. Not gaming. No. E-commerce. And tech and e-commerce in general. And I've gotten to therapy because of that. The reason, by the way, that I learned my diagnosis as ADHD, which I suffered with all my life and didn't know that it's ADHD and high-functioning autism, I learned that because I went to therapy, because of how I've seen the ugly face of life. Once you get into, because I was raised as a Muslim. So that comes with that life is good and bad. It's not black and white, but there is good and there is bad. And we should aspire to do good all the time as a Muslim, as a devout Muslim. You think about your deeds all the time. Nothing you do is out of sense. Nothing you do. If I take a sip of water right now, in my mind, it should be about doing better in that world. Yeah, being a Muslim is a heavy task, guys. And that's why when I started seeing the world as it was, when I peeked behind some curtains in the business world, it was too much for me. I kept, because I asked, why would I spend my life? So, for example, I never been an employee, guys. I'm always been an entrepreneur since I gotten out of college. But I asked, if I went and worked as an employee, why would I do that and how would I do that? Knowing that I am giving parts of my life, of my soul, of my time to some corporate, whatever that corporate is, if I'm not thinking about what that corporate is doing on the global scale. So, for example, as a communications and electronics engineer, our dream when we were in college and university is to go to grow up and work in Apple or something. Now we know about what all the tech companies are doing in the Congo and in Africa and the mines and all of that. My brain couldn't accept both facts at the same time and just live my life. I couldn't. The idea that I can, for example, work for a major corporation, a conglomerate, a billion-dollar company, and I know that they are putting profits before morals and before ethics, I couldn't live with that. But I spent a big part of my life with no wealth whatsoever and no money because I had skills and I just kept trying to find the most optimal and the best route morally and ethically to work with, and that's impossible. Actually, it's impossible. It can't be done. In current financial climate and in current business climate, it's impossible. I'm saying that I know it's impossible to find 100% totally ethical and moral approach to business. At any business, if you are trading in fiat currency, at any part of this world, you are a part of the system. That's why this is one of the reasons that I was extremely excited about crypto when crypto was not known back at 2013. Guys, the videos on this channel, if you go back, the very first videos I done at 2014, it was about crypto and blockchain just for Egyptian, and it was just about the idea and the technology. I was fascinated by it back then because I thought that it contributed to the solution. But I was naive back then because I didn't know exactly how powerful money is over ethics and morals. I'm not saying that this life is doomed. No, it's not. But it's on us to change that. Once you realize any part of the nature of this world, you realize that you really realize, and you think about it, you should never complain. You should never spend a moment of your time complaining. So, for example, if you think that bad world developers did something wrong, yeah, don't complain about it. Make a system, think of a system, be powerful enough to change something. But complaining and whining on the internet never changed anything. This is one of the major reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I'm a Muslim, once again. And what's happening in the Middle East, it hurts me. I have so many things to say, but no one would listen. And I kept saying those things in Egyptian, in Egypt, and in Arabic. And yeah, I say it, and others who know the same facts keep replying to me, yeah, we know, and they say it, and I say, yeah, we know. And then we see, me and most of my kind who can speak more than one language, we see how many of the other parts of the world who don't know what we know or who can't speak our language keep repeating fake news and keep repeating things that aren't just right because no one told them anything. And then we wait for Mo Salah to do what? He's a football player, he's a soccer player. He's not a politician, he's not a religious figure, or he's not a sheikh. He's just a football player. And he got to where he is by playing football. And that got me thinking, if I spend 10 more years in business, what would I do? What will I do? How powerful can I get? For every cent that I get, someone else gets richer. This is life as in e-commerce, by the way. You will never get richer than the hand before you. So it goes, the whole of the world on e-commerce, on our world currently, it's all the same, guys. The product gets manufactured in China. Someone finances to get that product manufactured, but you don't pay for the factory itself. The factory has been built. This is what China made in the 70s. This is how it's amazing in China. China made some partnerships with Motorola and other. There is a whole history for that. I can talk about it later. But anyway, the factories were built in China in the 70s and 80s and 90s, right? Now they have that infrastructure. If you want to build something, all right, pay to them so they can build it. But they build it for you and they build it for everyone else. And they will clone it. They do that. It's all right. I can't complain. So you paid them to build it. Now, they have it. They are the first hand. They give it to the guys who work in shipment. They are the second hand, the big exporters and importers, the export and import. This is the whole industry. And it moves from hand to hand to hand to hand until it gets through the affiliates and to the last hand. So you put it on your website and you sell it. You can never get more than the hand before you. That's it. And that cycle at the end is controlled by the same players for more than 30 years now, I think. That's it. So I kept thinking, all right, I can never get out of that cycle. I got rich doing that. Thanks God. You can get rich doing e-commerce easily. But there must be something else. Because my impact was minimal, was zero. My impact, no matter what I do, it would never be as impactful and as strong as what Mo Salah can do. And this is why I like ASMONGOLD. He knows that. He talked about similar things. I know that the video title makes him seem like makes it seem like he's the center of the video. But again, I'm just ranting, and what happened with him and Bell World and all of that was the perfect trigger for my thoughts to be a little bit coherent, so it can be recorded in a video like that. So we go and wrap it all again. His hygiene and his hoarding stuff and all of that, it's no one else's business. I love it when I see some video talking about him and can you see how he's living, how can you see his room and I'd much prefer it if your room looked like that, but your mind looked like Asmon's mind. If I much prefer it if you had the hygiene, and I think he's clean again. He said it too much, and all it's just guys. It's just a comic now. It's just something funny that most of Asmon's community talk about right now. But this is not it. His hygiene and his hoarding, that's not the thing that should make you not listen to what he says. And again, I'm not saying that he's 100% right in everything he says. Not at all. Absolutely, the bro is just. There is a word for it in Arabic, which is pure. It translates. It literally translates into pure. But in Arabic, it's called Salim al-Fitra. Salim al-Fitra, which is pure of nature. That's a literal translation. Means that his mind works right. I translate all of that. His compass for me seems to be pointing right. Of course, I'd love it if I can get to. Or not me, because I'm not informed enough, or I can't do it enough. Many better people can do it. But if Asmon is someone who I would enjoy listening to talk about the stuff that I care about, but I would never try and force him on something like that, because it's not my place, and he doesn't really has to, and no one else. Because of that. And he said it. If you want something like that, then do it yourself. So I did. And this is the beauty of its simplicity. If you think that Asmon is wrong about his situation and his take on the whole Bell world and whole of Pokemon and all of that, alright? Be as big as him as a streamer, then say what you want. But don't ask him, and don't wait that he takes a certain approach to things just because you think so, or because the internet thinks so. It's the same with all of woke culture and all of the things, and it's similar situation with all of Andrew Tate and all of that. Again, it goes back to your point of view only matters to you. And if you use the internet currently searching for others with a similar point of view to yours, and thinking that because someone has a similar point of view to yours right now, that means that they care for your interests, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's called herd mentality. And believe me, as Arabs, we know it quite clearly, very much, because the easiest way to mobilize large amounts of people is to use that herd mentality. And the internet right now, for the past, well, and because it's politics now and all of that, but the internet has so many professionals in that field. Once again, all that ranting, and sorry if that came as a shock to you and you're used to just me playing some video games. I will keep playing video games. I will keep producing content in video games. I'm enjoying World extremely, and yeah, I'm enjoying it as a game. And I even if if they just stole it, line of code per line of code, I am still enjoying it. That doesn't mean that what they did was right. It has no effect whatsoever on anything, guys. Not right or wrong doesn't exist in the business world. And once you learn that, then you will learn that it's your decision whether to drink Coke or Pepsi or water. Yeah, Coke and Pepsi, they are not right or wrong. I'm not saying that right or wrong doesn't exist in life. No, it doesn't exist in the business world. It's on you to do what's right and what's wrong. If you think World is wrong, don't play it. I think that what they did isn't wrong. That's why I'm playing it. And that's why I'm saying publicly that I enjoy it. And yeah, I think that what they did isn't wrong. And why? The why of it, it's a much different conversation than these conversations that we're having right now. The conversation of what's right and what's wrong in the whole of coding world and the whole of computing world and development and game design and game development, it's a totally different conversation than this conversation. That's why I'm not having it right now. So once again, to recap all of that, just know that it's all about you. This is it. This is the message of that. How long have I been ranting for? Almost 30 minutes. Those 30 minutes translate to it's only you. If you think something needs to be done, do it. Don't look around asking for people who think like you to gather around and become a group, because once you do that, you've lost. Again, if you think something should be done, don't look around for others to have a similar point of view to yours. And if you find them, they're not actually. You don't amount to anything. If you have a million like you, that doesn't amount to anything. If you think something should be done, do it yourself. If you can't do it yet, grow stronger. Then do it. And that's it. Hopefully I got my message across. If you guys wanna let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong, I'd like that. I still do the types of videos where I reply to the comments myself, and I've seen comments that said that once I get famous and big, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I don't think I will. No, I'll keep doing that, because again, I'm doing that whole thing and growing that channel just to have a conversation, guys. And no matter how many will come and try and have a conversation with me, I'm always gonna love that. Hopefully. I'm gonna try and keep that promise. See ya.